Today on American Outlaw, I designed a knife. I designed the perfect knife. I designed the greatest knife in history of mankind. Maybe not the history of mankind, but let's talk about this knife today. Transcend. Look, go to Transcend, tell them I sent you. Use the link below. When you go there, they will give you a full form to fill out. It takes about 10 minutes. They will go send you to a doctor. You will get your blood work done. They will look at all of the problems that you have inside your body. Yes, we have a lot of them. And then they will put you on the correct prescription medication peptides to be able to heal your body, to be able to help you get in shape, to gain muscle. They are incredible. I learned it from my boy Cowboy Cerrone, and it has literally changed my life. I think I'm down 50-ish something pounds. In the gym, I'm stronger than I've ever been, and I feel like $1,000,000. So guys, look, go to Transcend and let them build a special program for you. Tell them I sent you. We Knives and Civivi Knives called me and they said, hey, fly up here to Utah and we'll go to X Insurance and they're gonna host a summit. So I fly up there and that was the first time I met Cowboy Cerrone. I'm not a UFC guy. I've never seen a UFC fight. So when I met Cowboy Cerrone, I was just like, I didn't know who you are. Anyway, we hit it off. We become really good friends. And we got some content coming with Cowboy here soon. So if you're a UFC guy, just stay tuned for that. So anyway, Cowboy and I are designing knives together with Jason Knight. And if you don't know who Jason is, he created the Forged in Fire. He was the champion of Forged in Fire, a judge of Forged in Fire. And then we also got to go with Jared and Nate, the blade maker. They helped me hand forge out a knife. Cowboy and I worked on it together and it was just freaking awesome time. So thanks to we and Civivi. Thanks to Jared. Since I was a little kid, man, I remember my grandfather would say to me, Trey, you cannot be a man if you don't have a pocket knife. So from the time I was a wee young lad, as little as I could remember not cutting myself, I had a pocket knife. I think my first one was a Gerber, and I worked my way up to a Spyderco, and then I started carrying an I-brand. But I've always been a hunter since I could remember. My family is hunters. And it started with my dad having a Buck 119, and he was like, hey, this is too heavy. So he switched to a Buck 110. And then he would always say, hey, I wish I just had a little knife and I could carry like maybe 4 of them. And that's just how we got to this level. Let's talk about how I came up with the design. Again, I hunt all of the time. One of the things that I have a problem with is taking a knife and it not making it all the way through an animal. So when I say all the way through an animal, I don't mean boning him out and butchering him, putting him up, because knives have different places and for different, like it's a different tool for each job. I mean, I'm gonna gut this thing, I'm gonna quarter him out, I might even bone him out. If you're not that far from the truck, maybe you're just gonna quarter him out because quarters are pretty easy to carry. So you quarter him out and you carry him out in 4 or 5 pieces, right? And it just depends. Maybe you're just gutting him and then you get him hung in a tree. That's how we were forever. We would just gut them, we'd get them hung in a tree, skin them, and let them cool down. The longer you can let them hang and get cool, the better it's gonna be. So that's what I prefer. I would love to get them set in there, 5 days outside if it's cold enough. 2 weeks inside of a cooler would be great. So I already knew what I wanted because the way that I hunt is a lot of quartering them out or boning them out to get them to the truck and back to where I can get them butchered. Butchering is becoming really popular now. If you've never butchered your animal, dude, you should do it. One, you're getting your animal, you know exactly what you're getting. 2, you're getting the cleanest portions of it, because if you're like, hey, I'm not gonna eat that, a regular butcher might just be like, eat it. And you're like, no, I'm gonna take some time, I'm gonna clean this up, or that's just not something that I'm gonna eat. So I really prefer to butcher our own meat. Again, this is not a butcher knife. A number 1 rule about a knife, it has to feel good in your hand. It just does. And so I knew, and we went over several designs till I could get this, don't even focus on the blade, to where it fits my hand perfectly and it just feels good in my hand. I also needed it where I could turn it backwards in my hand, because if you don't know, I don't use a saw to cut their legs off. All you have to do, you could go to Cliff Gray's Instagram channel. Cliff is a really good friend of mine. I just sent him one of these to see if he could wear it out. All you do is you go around and you cut the skin off, and then you just follow the knuckle all the way down, and then that last portion, you bend the leg down, hold it like this, and pop it back, and you'll pop those legs off. I knew that I was gonna have to pull a knife to me, and I wanted to be able to control it. I also knew that I wanted it to be about as big as my hand. And one of the things that you know if you're a knife guy, when it gets bigger than your hand is usually when you start cutting yourself. but you avoid a lot of cuts when it's about that, 3.5, 4-inch blade. So I walked in knowing those two things were what I was gonna want. I started getting my first custom knife from Don Heathcote. Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs just got a knife from him, which is kind of cool because I think he's like 81 or 82 now. But I got my first one from him in 98, maybe 99. And I think I got 3 built from him afterwards. They were like $600 a piece, way more now. But I started building my own knives, got a grinder, started building them. I came out with a belt knife for a while, and maybe I'll get back into it when I get a little more time. But I love knives. I love building knives. I could sit behind a grinder all day long, and it feels like it's only an hour. So after I knew that I wanted my handle to fit my hand perfectly, and I wanted the blade shape to be as big as my hand, I said, okay, one of the things that I'm missing in a lot of knives is I just need just a little bit of belly to be able to cut with, not skin. I wasn't trying to have a full belly skinner, right? If I was, I would have brought this down a lot more, but I wanted it to just be able to cut. And then so after we went from a couple different blade designs, because I also, a drop point is a great knife, spear point's a great knife, Warncliffe is a really good knife design, but I needed just a little belly that wasn't a full skinner. Now when I did that, it didn't have this top piece on it. It was just gonna look like this. Very close to Kyle Lamb's wee knife that he designed. And so I said, okay, I like that. Now I wanna be able to put my thumb on the back of it and for my mashing, like I'm gonna mash on this and just hammer it. And I also wanna be able to put my finger up here for when I'm doing finer work. So we made it to where your finger fits exactly perfect and your thumb fits perfect to give you leverage on the knife. Now, I knew how wide I wanted my knife because when I do a lot of my cutting, I hold the blade of my knife like this. And so when I'm doing that fine cutting, right, maybe I'm getting up close and I'm getting underneath their neck or I'm getting close to their eyes, I want to be able to take this knife and just finely cut. So I need to control the blade and the cut on it. So that's why I designed it to where you can hold the blade. See, a lot of thought went into this knife, way more thought than you think. Way more thought than you think, way more think than you thought. I don't know. That's why I set this up to be able to really get in there and do the smaller work. Now, after that, I was like, hey, I think we got it. And then Jason said, hey man, I think you ought to add this top back piece to it and we'll put a little swedge on it so that way whenever you're going up an animal's leg, because you cut their leg, so grab their leg, you push this down and you run it right up their leg. And then you wrap it all the way around, then you can break off their leg, and then you can come in here and start skinning him, or maybe you use your hand this way, or maybe you use your hand this way, and you start skinning around that leg, right? I set it up that way, or he had me set it up that way, and I thought it was a great idea because this allows that really smooth push where it doesn't tear up a lot of stuff, and it gives you literally a perfect angle to run through the guts and to run up the legs to start your skinning. And so the idea of this was never walking in as a Nesamick or never walking in as a muck knife, which George Washington Sears did the Nesamick knife, and he was an outdoorsman and a hunter. So I literally had no thoughts in there. I just did what I wanted out of a hunting knife because, I shoot like 50, 60 animals a year, big game. Or if I don't shoot them, I'm with people who do, and I do the work with them and I hand it off. And so anyway, then I chose a clip that we could keep inside of our pocket, and then they helped me out with the button style. I said, yeah, I really like the button style because I could either flip it like this and have like a little fidget flipper, or I can just reach out and push it. And a lot of times you're like holding on to something, you're like, hold on, let me get my knife, and you can just get to work with it, but then you need to put it up really quick, and it makes it easy to put it up. And I also wanted it to be a handy, like, hey, this is my everyday carry, just my pocket knife, and that it has doubled for that really well. Opening cardboard boxes, cutting strings off your shirt, whatever you normally use a knife for, this thing has just been amazing for it. And I've given several of them away. I've used several of them, and everybody loves them, both for hunting and every day. And I've even had some guys be like, hey man, I'm a knife fighter. I'm not, but they're like, hey, this makes an amazing tactical knife as well. And I'm like, shoot, it really does, especially if you're trying to just get a big slash on them or stick them. It kind of acts as a dagger and then kind of acts as a good slasher. So like, I went in to design the perfect knife for me and how I use a knife, and I use a knife a lot. I got a lot of cuts. I got some nasty scars. This one right here, dog cut me on an antelope not long ago, a month ago. I've just got a lot of scars because I use a knife a lot. And one of the things that I realized is the guys who cut themselves a lot use a knife a lot. The guys who don't cut themselves a lot, you guys don't really use a knife a lot because you're just not using a knife. What happens is you start really getting used to it and you're not paying attention to it anymore and you'll whack-a-mole yourself. The steel that they used is not the steel that I had originally wanted, but I had this in mind. I said, guys, I want something that is not hard to sharpen because a lot of people don't know how to sharpen a knife today. So everybody's like, hey, I want a Havalon. And I got a lot of outfitter buddies who say, hey man, I used to could go through a whole animal with a Havalon, and now I can barely do a quarter of an animal. I'm using 4 blades. And so I said, I need a steel that will go through a whole animal. What does that mean for me? It means I can go out and gut him, get all the guts out of him. Then I can go and peel his skin, cut his legs off, get him onto a gimbal and skin him. And I don't want to have to sharpen this, but I want it to be easy to sharpen afterwards. And so this is the steel that we picked. But I also really wanted to keep this a common man's knife. I said, here's what I want. I want you to be able to buy 4 of these. And if you lose one, oh well. If you need to give one to your buddy, oh well. If you have somebody and you let them borrow it, because you let somebody borrow your knife, they're either going to use it as a screwdriver or pry with it, or they're just going to take it. I wanted it to be where you could afford multiple of these. And so yes, I could have chose a Damascus $750 knife. We was going to build it for me. I could choose S30V. I could choose CPM3V. I could choose a lot of different things. If I was picking for me, I would pick 01 tool steel because I know how to sharpen a knife. This steel will absolutely go through an entire animal. It will bone it out. It will get it completely ready for you and you don't have to touch it. But I wanted everybody to be able to take something like a work sharp. So ideally, you want a ceramic and you want to be able to come in and easily touch up your knife. Now, it is hard to get an edge on your knife, okay? It's hard to get an edge on your knife. If you maintain your edge, it's not hard to keep it. My ratio, if you want to maintain your edge perfectly, is 8 cuts. When I do 8 big cuts, I want to come back and I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4 swipes on a steel, 8, 10 cuts, come back, hit your steel. Make sure when you hit your steel, guys, I see a lot of people, they do this like, I'm gonna do it with the back of the knife, but it's like, and it's like, I look like a chef. Dude, that's not how you do this. It's really important that you pay attention and you have the right angle. And then as you have the right angle, see there's a little belly in this knife, I have to pick the knife up. So what that means is when I'm cutting, when I'm sharpening, I go down and I'm constantly lifting it up, right? It's a movement up so that way I'm constantly getting the entire edge. And what I have found is I have not had to replace this edge once. I've just had to maintain this edge and it's been amazing. You can also take like a work sharp like this and just run it through. And dudes, I'm telling you, this thing it has just been a wonderful knife. I've yet to have anybody say it's been bad. I wanted it under $100 so you could carry 4 if you're going back in the woods. I picked orange for one of them because I can't tell you how many knives I've lost on the ground, and it's not like I'm trying to be tactical, although I could be, and maybe if I'm being tactical, I still want you to see my orange knife. But I thought about the hunters when I did the orange. I thought about the hunters when I did the white. Now this one, it seems to be the most popular one right now that everybody wants because it just looks cool. But I wanted you to see them. Now, I know we got our black. Everybody loves black, so we got the classic black. And then we did this cool green. And guys, I told them it had to be, this is the prototype, so they didn't do another brown one for me. But I think this was $20 from Work Sharp. I'll put it in my Amazon cart. And so for $100 total, I've got probably the best knife I have ever used in my entire life. Yes, it's not bougie steel. Yes, but you're also not gonna care if you lose it, if you break it, if you get rid of it. I haven't been able to break it. I haven't been able to dull it yet. These are incredible little knives for $75. Look, they're on my website below. Here's my website below. They're on my website. You can jump in there. You can get one. I'll have it to you really quick. We've got them in stock now, and they're amazing. Pick your color. Are you a hunter and you want orange? Do you really dig the color of this as a like EDC knife? Do you prefer green? You know, if you do, the greens here, it's pretty awesome tactical looking knife. Or are you just classic, I just want black? All of them have the American Outlaw logo on them. I think that's pretty awesome. And I like to thank Jason Knight and Civivi We Knives. If you guys buy enough of these and you want to be bougie, we will look at dropping one in some better steels, maybe some S30V, some CPM 3V. Tell me what your favorite steel is that you have used extensively and you know works, because I've had a lot of hard time with some of them better steels. Yeah, they held their edge longer, but then they were a mother to sharpen. But anyway, guys, listen, I appreciate you guys. This is something that I really believe in. If you are a knife guy, like I said, you can't be a man and not carry a pocket knife, but if you're buying gifts for your family for the holidays, $75, you can't go wrong. This thing is amazing. This is where you need to be. Jump in here underneath and grab you the American Outlaw, Civivi Connection, collaboration, the Outlaw MUK.